Okay, so I just worked a standard night shift and I did not do well at work. In fact, I have not been doing particularly well at my job right now. Um, on a certain kind of day, we have two major kinds of days at this job. You have high obligations and high stress, and you can't really meaningfully rest from exertion. And it's on those days that I don't do particularly well. But we have another kind of day at work in which we have a lighter workload and can work at a more leisurely pace, and I tend to excel on those days. Go figure. So today I want to talk about a book that I think brought me closer to God, although many people may not suspect that such a book can do that. It's called Mortality by Christopher Hitchens. It archives the concluding thoughts of a man who is dying of esophageal cancer, while still functioning as not merely an atheist, but an anti-theist. Revisiting Mortality, the book, is something that got me to realize that Christopher Hitchens was brilliant and in certain ways like Socrates while he was alive, if you interpret his existence charitably. But he did not live skillfully in terms of his protection of his physical health. And as he was dying, he was clearly in a sort of combative, rattled, or uneasy state. And I admire his brutal honesty within mortality, but at the same time I couldn't help but think that the way in which he died was a wretchedly sad and bleak and depressing way to die, especially if you have his IQ, his achievements, his money, his social status, his charisma, and so on. I just couldn't help but think, like, I would give anything to not go out of this realm like him. So, as something of a partial antidote to going out in a gratuitously combative way like Hitchens did, I would recommend that you look up the book or the movie, Never Let Me Go. The movie is based on the work of Kazuo Ishiguro. You want to understand the major kinds of characters within that story and take at least a couple hours to kind of handwrite a journal in which you conceive of yourself as in the same place as the characters who are kind of forcibly pressured into donating their organs when they're healthy and in their 30s or something. You know, they die in their 30s and they donate their organs. So, what is life like when you keep your mortality in mind during every waking second of the day? I don't know. My last job involved me being a cashier, and it wasn't always easy to be patient and kind and compassionate when I was a cashier, because when you work with the general public, you work with people who kind of inexorably instrumentalize you in ways that are kind of dehumanizing, especially if they are rushed and stressed, and they don't think much of people who don't work for a lot of money. Something I kept in mind whenever people were being difficult, or frankly just like a dick, was that they're going to end up at their funerals one day. So no matter how difficult somebody is being with me, at that person's funeral there are going to be loved ones who verbally unearth positive qualities they have that I cannot register in my immediate interactions with them. So I don't perceive anything as more sacred than compassion. And if I cannot offer some kind of compassion to someone, then I can withdraw myself from them. That's part of why I'm legitimately a recluse. So you can train yourself to become more compassionate than you innately are, thanks to something called neuroplasticity. or just a general factor of teachability, which doesn't have to rely on possibly over-optimistic pseudoscience about the phenomenon of neuroplasticity. 20 to 21 years ago, I bullied someone for, I don't know, some months when I was a 12-year-old. And today I have achieved certain things that can only be done by somebody who makes compassion something of a mission in their life. So I'm not saying I'm Jesus or something, because I'm not sinless. In fact, I sin regularly. Sometimes I sin like, sinning is drinking water. I just gotta do it to stay alive. Okay, maybe not, maybe it's not quite like that bad, but I encountered a perspective from some Christian commentators that said that at a certain point you have to die to sin, and I thought, nope, not me. Maybe like somebody over there will stop sinning, but I'm going to be in my little corner with my pride and whatnot. So this is why I'm not qualified to ever make like a sermon on anything, because I'm probably going to be sinning while I'm delivering this sermon.